Hello, and welcome back to the Hot Action Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Kerr, and we are about to review what happened in the previous NFL game week, and then we are going to pick every game against the spread, do our 5 best bets, and then put in our lock of the week. And finally, we have a positive week to talk about. Finally, we have a week that's not 8-8, 7-7. We have a 10-4. Last week we cleaned up. We made a few mistakes, and I am upset that I even made those ones because there was money to be made. Basically, everything I got wrong, I really struggled with, and we'll be going over that right now. We started with Thursday Night Football. We had San Francisco at Seattle. We took Seattle. We hummed and hawed over this one. I said specifically last week, fade my Seattle picks. They aren't going to work out for you. And that turned out to be correct. San Francisco, I think, they won 36-24, and they kicked Seattle's ass in every phase of the game. This scoreline kind of flatters Seattle, honestly. There were some high leverage plays that could have gone Seattle's way, but they did not for the most part. End of the first half, Seattle settled for a field goal instead of a touchdown to DK Metcalf. They threw some catchable balls, I think, but end of the day, I think Seattle did get smoked pretty bad. And the 12-point margin was not as it could have been worse. Then on Sunday morning, we had Jacksonville at Chicago. It's funny, I can't remember what I said when I picked Jacksonville last week, other than it's like a home game for them. It was weird because the Saturday before the games, my dad was like, do you think we should bet on Jacksonville? It's like a home game for them. And I was like, I don't know. They are playing really badly. And I wish I had the foresight to change this bet. I did not. Jacksonville gets smoked by Chicago. Caleb Williams Rookie of the Year bets are starting to look a little bit tasty as time moves on. Loving that. Then next we had Tampa Bay at New Orleans. We took Tampa Bay minus 2.5. That worked. Tampa Bay was winning for most of the game. New Orleans made it a bit scary in the middle of the game. I believe they got up to. Tampa Bay had 27 points. New Orleans smushed the lead down to 3, getting up to 24, if I remember correctly. And then Tampa Bay scored the next, 20 points. Either way, they won the game 51-27. Extremely comfortable margin of victory. Then we had Arizona and Green Bay. We took Green Bay minus 5.5. Comfortable margin of victory. The final score was 13-34. Arizona's defense is really bad. If you are semi-competent offense, you can score a lot of points on them. And if Arizona isn't on their day, they're going to struggle to keep up with the points their D is allowing. That's what appears to be happening with them. Then we had Indianapolis Colts at Tennessee. Tennessee was getting a half point, but lost by 3, 20-17. I should have known Flack Magic was in the air. I should know never to bet against Joe Flacco. He's just a winning machine. Yeah, that's all there is to this game. Should have bet on Joe Flacco. Never should have bet on Will Levis. He is a comedy of errors. Moving on, we had Cleveland at Philadelphia. I took Philadelphia minus 8.5. I really struggled with this one. I hummed and hawed. I thought Philadelphia's having trouble beating anyone by 8.5. And I think they could have today if they hadn't, given up a couple of really boneheaded turnovers, turned, good scenarios into bad ones with sloppy play. That being said, Philadelphia's been doing that all year. I have trouble betting on them. I have a bet on them to win this division, but it is feeling less and less secure, especially as Washington appears to look a bit competent we'll see how that plays out going forward. I'm worried about the Eagles. It's official. Okay. Yeah. Then we got Houston and New England. This game was an ass whooping. We took Houston minus 6.5. It was 41-21. One good positive thing about New England is Drake May looked pretty good. He threw 3 touchdowns, I believe. And we're liking what we're seeing out of Drake May early. Yeah, but ultimately it was an absolute beatdown. The coach, I believe, said that the defense let Drake May down, which is, not great considering New England's coach is billed as a defensive coach. It's going to be a tough year for New England. Who knows if they can get to 4 or 5 wins. Moving on. Yeah, Washington, Baltimore, probably the game of the week. We took Baltimore minus 6.5, and it was 23-30, so we covered by a half point. Not super comfortable, but Baltimore felt like they were kind of in control of this game most of the way. But it was a pretty good game, so we like what we see out of Washington. They're looking competent, making me kind of tug at my collar about the Philadelphia Eagles to win the division bet. We're a bit worried about these Washington boys. All right. Then we got the Chargers at Denver. We took Chargers minus 2.5. They won 23-16. Like I said at the beginning of the year, Herbert and Harbaugh are a good combo. Herbert doesn't need to throw for more than 250 yards to get wins because defense looks good, running game looks good. We're liking this Chargers team. They might cough up a loss here and there that's ugly, but I think we're going to continue to bet on them. And similarly, we like this Pittsburgh team. We got Pittsburgh at Las Vegas. We took Pittsburgh minus 2.5. Pittsburgh wins 32-13. Vegas is brutally bad. We would like to bet against them when we get the chance. They don't know who their quarterback is. They just lost Devontae Adams. Best pass rushers and trade rumors. Everything is going wrong for the Raiders. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. This Raiders team is unbelievably bad. And moving on, we got Atlanta at Carolina. We took Atlanta minus 5.5. Another comfortable margin of victory. Atlanta wins 38-20. Yeah. Carolina's not very good. Andy Dalton can only do so much to raise the floor of this team. And, I feel pretty strongly that Atlanta should win this division. Kirk Cousins can ball out when need be. I think he's slowly figuring out his return from that injury. I think he's looking good now. After the kind of debacle in week 1 against Pittsburgh, this Atlanta team is starting to turn into the team that it's meant to be. Both Bijan and Tyler Algier went off. I think they were, leading for a good portion of this game and could just let their running guys, grind out the win. All right, now the most embarrassing loss of the week. We had, I think, what was meant to be quite a good game. We had Detroit minus 3.5 at Dallas. Detroit would end up winning 47-9. Dallas would score only 3 field goals. Dak would look terrible. He would be benched. The only positive for Dallas really was just a negative for Detroit in that Detroit's best pass rusher, Aiden Hutchinson, would leave the game with a broken leg. Again, this is not truly a positive for Dallas, but it happened to the team they were playing, so I'm going to count it for them. This is the type of game. I watched it with my dad. I was at my dad's place for Thanksgiving. Canadian Thanksgiving, of course. But this game had my dad suggesting that Dallas's coach, Mike McCarthy, should be fired and would be fired before their next game. I bet him this wouldn't be the case, so I guess that's another bet I have open right now. but I had to give him odds, so we'll see how that goes. Can't put that one in the gambling app, but that is an open bet for your boy. All right, then we have Cincinnati at the Giants. Now, this game didn't feel like it was going to cover. Cincinnati was winning by 3 down late in the game. Of course, you had to give up 3.5. They were losing by the hook. But then, in a scenario where I didn't think they were going to even kick the field goal if they got in range, I believe it was Zach Moss breaks off a huge touchdown run to take a 10-point lead. The Giants cannot capitalize when they get the ball back. They lose 17-7. Cincinnati covers. And again, that's another win for your boy. And then finally, on Monday Night Football, we had a narrow half-point victory for Buffalo. We took Buffalo minus 2.5. They would win 23-20. New York Jets had multiple chances to tie the game up with a field goal or win the game with a touchdown, and they couldn't make it go. I don't think the coaching change has helped the Jets, but now they're bringing in Devontae Adams to, further appease Aaron Rodgers, who I don't think is really a difference maker at this point in his career. I feel great because I've been shorting this Jets team for 2 years, and it's working the whole way. Not believing in Aaron Rodgers has been extremely profitable for your boy so far. Not everything else I do, but it's been great. Just shitting on this guy for not being able to play football at the highest level that he is accustomed as, just it's a great moment for your boy. So it feels good to be right about stuff. All right, moving on to week 7. We start the week with a Thursday night banger. Denver at New Orleans. We have 2 rookie quarterbacks. Got some teams with a bit of, defensive pedigree. Not a lot of fireworks expected in the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to bet that it is difficult for Bo Nix to play in the Superdome. We are taking New Orleans plus 1.5. We like the points in these Thursday night games. They tend to be pretty bad. I think, maybe we bet the under and enjoy it when balls hit the ground, This is going to be, I think, a pretty bad game to watch. I wouldn't be betting on it if it wasn't for the Pick'em contest. All right, moving on. We had New England and Jacksonville. This is great. We got 2 1-5 teams playing at 6:30 a.m. You have to get up extra early to watch pretty bad football, I think. Jacksonville is giving 5.5 points, and I don't think they should be giving 5.5 points to anybody. I'm taking New England. New England scored 3 touchdowns last week. That would have been enough to beat Jacksonville last week. So that's what we're doing. I think there's a chance that if Doug Peterson goes 0-2 in London, that they leave him there. Not just fire him, just don't even buy him a plane ticket home. Dude is stuck. I have no idea how Jacksonville has played this badly so far. I have no idea how Doug Peterson didn't get fired after last week. This is unbelievable. I have nothing more to say on this. We're moving on. Then we have Philadelphia at the Giants. Giants are getting 3.5 points at home. This is tough for me because the Giants have trouble scoring. I believe they lost one of their starting offensive linemen. It pains me to do this, but I'm just have to believe in the Eagles' pedigree. They have to win this game by more than 3.5. I can't keep saying this Eagles team makes me afraid to bet on, but this Giants team has been a debacle thus far this year. Losing to the Bengals that badly is not acceptable. That Bengals team has allowed points to everybody thus far this year. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm really tempted to take the Giants plus 3.5, but I will hold my nose, take the Eagles, believe in Jalen Hurts, and Saquon. I think Saquon is going to have a revenge game, hopefully. All right, moving on. We got Seattle plus 2.5 at Atlanta. Now, like I say every week, fade my Seattle picks, but I'm taking Atlanta. I'm tired of betting on the Seahawks team. I think that, Atlanta has a pretty solid run game. If you can get Algier and Bijan going like they did last week, I think it's going to be very tough for Seattle to win. If you look at tape from San Francisco, Seattle, San Francisco had like 4 guys that could get whatever they wanted from Seattle if they ran the ball. Keep the ball on the ground, and you will win this game. I can't see how that will happen, or I can't see how that plan fails against Seattle on the road. That being said, because I bet this, it will go the other way, and Seattle will be 4-3. That is all. Then we have Houston at Green Bay. Taking Houston with points is extremely, extremely tempting. I feel like Green Bay and Houston are like the same team. One is just from the AFC and the other is from the NFC. And Green Bay plays outdoors. And maybe it's starting to get cold. We're going to take Green Bay, minus 2.5. I wouldn't call it one of my best bets, but I like the home team. I like the coach. Green Bay is back at full strength. But I wouldn't be surprised if this game went either way. I feel like both these teams leaving at 5-2 kind of makes sense to me. Yeah, and we like home teams. And, if you can get the advantage below 3 points, you don't mind taking that. All right. Then we have Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cincinnati is laying 5.5. This Cleveland team looks so dead in the water. Like I said, until they announce that Jameis Winston is the starter, I'm betting against them no matter what the spread is. So you're taking Cincinnati minus 5.5. Yeah, that's all the analysis I need. This Cleveland team is absolute doggy doo-doo. Bring in famous Jameis. I can't believe this is still happening. Watson has been historically bad. Like, among the worst quarterbacks in the modern era bad. I don't know if there's more that I can say on that. Moving on to another morning slate game. We have Detroit at Minnesota. Divisional matchup here. Minnesota is laying minus 2.5. I will take the points here. I think Detroit is slightly better. Is the slightly better team. I think Minnesota, deserves their 5-0 start, but I don't think they've played any divisional games yet. And I think I have Detroit to win the division. I think that they can do it, and I think it starts here. I think it starts in Minnesota. All right. Moving on, we got Miami getting 3.5 at Indy. My bias is to take Indy, the home team. The issue with that is Indy has very poor run D, and Miami has some solid running backs. I think, especially, Tua's not back yet. I think they're going to want to keep the ball on the ground. Indy's not really blowing anybody out. But if they're going to blow out somebody, this Miami team has been pretty brutal. But I tend to think that, in a rock fight, you might want to take the points. I'll be taking Miami here. We will see how that goes. That could be a terrible bet. But yeah, I'm betting kind of on Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane to kind of chew up the yards shorten the game, and hopefully Miami can lose 14-17 or something like that. All right. Moving on. Last game of the morning, we got Tennessee at Buffalo. Buffalo's laying 8.5 points. And, yeah, from what I'm seeing, I'm liking Buffalo here. It's a very big line. Tennessee only has to keep it somewhat close, but Buffalo's been blowing out the bad teams, so I'll just take Buffalo, and I'm not even going to be too worried about it, I don't think. Usually with a line this big, I'd kind of hum and haw and, say that this is a difficult decision, but it doesn't feel like it right now. I could eat my words on that, but it feels obvious to me that we got to take Buffalo. All right, now here's a line that is interesting to me. We got Vegas getting 6.5 at the Rams. The Rams only have one win. But I think they're getting their second win today. They're coming off the bye. McVay is not going to allow this team to lose at home to Vegas. Yeah, I think that they're going to do it. 6.5 might be a lot, but I'm gonna take the Rams. I believe the Rams' home environment. Well, actually, the Vegas does get a lot of fans out to LA. There's still quite a big Vegas contingent in LA. It might even be bigger than the Vegas contingent in Vegas. But that being said, I think, I trust Stafford and McVay a lot more than I trust the Vegas crew. So that's what we're going to have to do here. All right. Then we've got Carolina and Washington. This will be a test to see if Washington can bully bad teams like we hope they can. Carolina's very bad team. And Washington has been moving the ball on just about everybody. It'll come down to if their defense can get a couple stops against Carolina. And if they can, they'll win by 7.5. We'll take Washington there. I love betting against these bad teams. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but, when you hit those, it feels great. All right, in the last game of the afternoon slot, we got Kansas City and San Francisco. This is probably the game of the week right here. This is a Super Bowl rematch. San Francisco's at home. Kansas City's getting 1.5 points on the road. Give me the undefeated team coming off the bye. This is Andy Reid. He never loses. He never loses off the bye. I feel like the San Francisco team is getting too much respect here. Andy Reid has Kyle Shanahan's number. I feel like, Kansas City's whole strategy is going to be to turn this game into a rock fight, win 17-14. Kansas City's been slowing games down, and San Francisco wants to run the ball. I think they're going to run themselves right into the Kansas City game plan, and it's going to be tough. All right. In Sunday Night Football, we have New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh's getting 1.5 at home. Bam. That's easy. We're not betting on the Jets. Pittsburgh's defense is just teeing off on people. The Jets' offense isn't dynamic enough to make me worried. TJ Watt might kill Aaron Rodgers by accident during the game. It will be very difficult to watch when the ambulance comes on the field to retrieve Aaron Rodgers' corpse. But that's the price we pay as football fans. We have to watch things like that on a weekly basis. That being said, I'm taking the 1.5. We're taking Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, I believe, will be on the field as the quarterback for Pittsburgh. I don't know whether I think that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, a low-scoring affair where, 1.5 might be important by the end of the game on Sunday night. All right. Then we have two games on Monday night. We have Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Tampa's getting 3.5 points at home. I'm taking Baltimore. Baltimore is extremely good against the NFC under Lamar. And, yeah, I think, they're just smoking people left, right, and center now. After they had some troubles, out the gates. They're on a 4-game winning streak, I believe. And, yeah, I don't know. I love betting on this Baltimore team when they've got their poop in a group, which they appear to right now. So, yeah, we're taking them. And then we got the Chargers, -2.5 at Arizona. This seems preposterous. We're taking the Chargers here. I think you need to get this line up to maybe 4.5 before I'd even consider betting on Arizona. This seems very strange to me. At least 3.5. At least. We're taking the Chargers -2.5 here. Yeah, we're going to throw in 45 as the tiebreaker number. We're going to move on here. Now we're going to mention our best bets of the week, which is we're taking New England, baby. New England +5.5 over Jacksonville. Jacksonville has trouble getting to numbers like 17 points. 5.5 is going to be huge. We love it. Then we are taking Washington -7.5 over Carolina. That's going to be, I don't know how Carolina's going to handle this never punting Washington offense. I'm not as rock hard on Washington as some people, but I am seeing what other people are seeing. This team is getting their stuff together, and Carolina is aggressively bad. I don't know. I wish there was relegation in the NFL so Carolina could be out of the league and replaced with someone more interesting. All right, moving on. We got our third pick, best bets. We are taking Pittsburgh +1.5. And then we are taking our other two Monday night games. We are taking Baltimore -3.5 over Tampa. And we are taking the Chargers -2.5 over Arizona. And our lock of the week is that Washington is victorious over Carolina. But as you all know, my lock of the week has only hit once, and that is last week's. In total, after a 5 of 5 best bets week last week, we are at 16 wins out of 30 attempts. And, that's only the second time this year that number's been positive, but I'm glad that it is positive. We're on a positive record in everything but the best bets as of this point in the year, and I'm proud of myself. So, thanks for watching. This has been the Hot Action Podcast, and I will see you next week. Please like and subscribe if you got to this point in the video. I appreciate every one of you. Peace.